A foreign investor can buy American real estate with no income documents, no US credit, and no social security number. That's not a loophole, it's a loan program. Here's exactly how it works. Let me tell you what we never ask a foreign national for. We don't ask for income documentation. No income or employment goes on the application at all. We don't ask for US credit or a social security number. We don't ask for landlord experience. First-time investors are welcome. We don't ask for foreign housing history or foreign trade lines. And we don't ask for a foreign credit report. There is no international bureau pull. 5 no's. So what's the yes? The yes is the property. DSCR stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. Take the gross monthly rent the property produces, divide it by the monthly payment, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and association dues. That one number is the entire underwrite. A ratio of 1.0 means rent exactly covers the payment. That's the best pricing tier. Below 1.0 still works, it just changes the maximum LTV. The borrower's salary, job, and tax returns never enter the file. The property qualifies itself. So who is a foreign national on this program? Someone who is not a U.S. citizen and whose primary residence is outside the United States. That second part is the definition, not a detail. They're buying purely for investment. They sign a notarized certification of business purpose and non-owner occupancy. They can be a complete beginner. If they are a first-time investor, that is allowed. They can take title personally, in a trust, or in a U.S. LLC. Here's the loan amount and LTV grid. This is DSCR at 1.0 or better. The minimum loan is $150,000. The maximum on the Foreign National Program is $1.5 million. Reserves are 6 months of payments, and cash out proceeds can satisfy that requirement. What if the rent doesn't cover the payment? The loan doesn't die, it just changes the maximum LTV. This is where appreciation plays and newly renovated rentals get financed. The property still qualifies itself, you just bring a little more down. Your clients own valuable property. Cash out turns that equity into the down payment on the next one. You need 6 months on title to use the current appraised value. Under 6 months, you're limited to purchase price plus documented improvements. And one hard rule: proceeds can never pay off personal debt. This is a business loan. Lots of term options here. 30-year fixed, 40-year fixed, then the one to know, interest only. A 10-year interest only period, then amortization. Interest only qualifies on ITIA instead of PITIA. Smaller payment, same rent, higher ratio, bigger loan amount. Assets are more flexible than people expect. Money can stay in a foreign bank and can be converted at the current rate. To close, either season the funds in a U.S. account for 10 days or wire directly to the closing agent. Reserves can stay offshore entirely. Gift funds are allowed after the borrower puts in 10% of their own. Bitcoin and Ethereum are eligible. 60% of a Coinbase valuation counts toward reserves. So what do we actually need? It's shorter than you think. A valid, unexpired passport with a photograph. Always. Then one of 3 routes. Route 1, an unexpired visa or an I-797 with valid extension dates plus the I-94. Route 2, the borrower's country is in the visa waiver program. No visa needed. Route 3, they're Canadian, and Canadian citizens don't need a non-immigrant visa at all. Add an ACH authorization form, mandatory on every foreign national loan. Here's the piece that decides how hard a closing is. Documents signed outside the United States have to be notarized by a U.S. embassy or consular official, with the embassy seal on the acknowledgement. But there's an alternative. If no embassy or consulate is available, and the country where the signing happens belongs to the Hague Convention, a local notary is acceptable, as long as the documents travel with an apostille. That's it. That one provision turns a consular appointment into a walk down the street. Look at how much of this hemisphere is covered. Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Peru, and more. All Hague Convention members, all eligible for the apostille route. If your client is anywhere in that map, they can sign at a local notary and close on a property in the United States without ever setting foot in a consulate. Membership does change, so confirm current status before you promise it. Canada is the shortest path of all. Canadian citizens don't need a non-immigrant visa to travel to the United States. A passport plus proof of a Canadian primary residence clears the entire identity requirement. Assets can stay in Canadian dollars in a Canadian bank. We convert at the current rate. Passport, proof of address, assets, a rental property. Done. Most foreign investors want to hold title in an entity, and this program allows it, with one hard boundary. The entity has to be domiciled in a U.S. state. You'll need articles, a good standing certificate dated within 120 days, the operating agreement, a member list with ownership percentages, and an EIN. Property types: single family attached or detached, 2 to 4 units, PUDs, modular, warrantable condos, and non-warrantable condos. Condotels, rural, up to 5 acres. Airbnb income counts. Short-term rentals cap at 70% loan to value. 7 ways to structure the deal: purchase, rate and term, cash out, delayed financing, that's a cash purchase inside 6 months and it prices like a rate and term, SEMA for New York, Texas cash out, and 1031 exchanges on investment purchases. Check geography before you quote a number. Certain states have restrictions. Check the guidelines for specifics. Here's the whole thing in one comparison. A bank asks a foreign investor for tax returns, pay stubs, a U.S. credit score, 2 years of employment history, and landlord experience. Most of those don't exist. So the answer is no. We ask for a passport, proof of a home abroad, assets, and a property that rents. Their country doesn't disqualify them. Their credit file doesn't need to exist. The rent is the underwrite, and the rent is already there. If you've got a client living abroad who wants to own American real estate, you already have enough to start. Passport, proof of a home in their country, a rent roll, or a market rent. That's a pre-approval. Send us the deal.